Registration forms allow customers to pre-register and optionally pre-purchase and/or schedule for a specific upcoming event. When registering for standard events, a single gallery will be created for each customer. This is usually the proper choice for family mini-session events, corporate headshot events, or Christmas events, where multiple galleries per customer are not required. When registering for a school sports or dance event, then the system allows the customer to register as many children as they have, regardless of the groups they belong to. When the form is submitted, the system will create a named gallery for each of the subjects that were entered. Regardless of the event type that was used, the system will create the customer and connect them to the event and their galleries. If any items were ordered and/or a deposit was paid, then an order will be created for the customer as well. Let's see how to create a registration form and learn more about them as we go. Once your event has been created, click on the Registration Forms button from the sidebar. Then click the Add Event Form button. In the General Settings section, we can name our form. Then we can set when the form expires. The first option expires the form when your event begins, which prevents customers from registering while the shoot is happening. The second option expires the form when your event ends, which will allow customers to register during the shoot. And the third option expires the form when the event expires online, which allows customers to register at any time. If you allow registrations during your event, a good strategy is to generate a QR code of the form's URL. Each form has a unique one. There are a lot of free QR code generators online. Then you can create a small poster or place an 8x10 printout in a brochure stand and set it up at a sign-in desk so customers can scan the QR code with their mobile phones to easily access the online registration form. And as long as you have internet access, the galleries created from the form should appear in the SortMagic mobile app, so the photographer can match the images they are shooting with these galleries. If you want the registration form to appear on the event search page of your Proofpix site, then you should click this checkbox. You may also add a form heading and any instructions in the next two fields. In the subject data section, you can decide what information you would like to collect about each subject. Typically, you will want to collect the team or class or dance data here, and don't forget to make it a required option if necessary. If you are building memory mates, then you will likely want to collect the data that is used to create these, such as the jersey number or height and weight. Apart from the group data field, which we use to create the group galleries, you can repurpose any of these other fields by changing the label name to collect whatever data makes sense for your needs. If you would like customers to schedule appointments, then click the Enable Scheduling button inside the Scheduling section. If you are scheduling as well as taking payments, you can tell the system how long to wait for payment before their appointments are automatically canceled. This is a great option to make sure appointments do not get occupied by people who have trouble with their credit cards or abandon the payment process while on PayPal, if you offer it. To determine how long an appointment actually is, you can enter in the average time it takes the photographer to shoot each subject here. If the same appointment can be booked multiple times, then you can enter in the number of photographers shooting concurrently in this box. And finally, you need to tell the system when you are actually available to shoot. This is done by selecting the time blocks you are working. For instance, you may take 30 minutes for a lunch break, so we avoid selecting these two time blocks. If you would like to send reminder notices for upcoming appointments, then enable appointment reminders here, and then set the number of days before the appointment the reminder should be sent. You can also set a last day reminder as well by clicking this checkbox. If you would like to take deposits, which will act as a credit, and/or you would like customers to pre-order items, then click the Enable Pre-Purchasing checkbox. If the customer must pay a deposit and/or purchase items for each subject, then select this option. In the case of dance events, then we can go a step further and force the customer to pay a deposit and/or purchase items for each dance the dancer belongs to. The form can use different payment methods than your main event does. If you are taking a deposit, then enter the amount here. If you are charging a deposit for each subject or dance and you would like to cap the amount of the deposit, then you can do so here. And finally, if you are pre-selling items, select a price list. The price list may in fact be different from the event's price list. For instance, you may use a price list that includes the same items as your event but at cheaper prices. Alternatively, you may discount items during pre-registration by creating a discount in your event settings that expires when your form does. In the case where an item must be given or purchased per subject, such as a group image, you will drag it into the first column to make it a mandatory item that automatically gets added to the order. If you want to force customers to buy something but want to give them a choice of items to choose from, then drag those items into the second column. And if you simply want customers to elect to purchase anything, then drag those items into the third optional column. As a side note, if your event is set as a non-proofing event, which is an event where the photographer is responsible for choosing the images, then orders will get a finished status when the form is submitted. Otherwise, orders will maintain an unfinished status until the customer has chosen the images for their pre-purchased items and any new items they add after the shoot and finalized their order by completing the checkout. If you want to collect any non-subject specific data, such as permission from the customer to use the images for your marketing materials, you may do so in the Additional Data section. And lastly, if you want to include a message after the form is submitted, you may do so in the last section.